What is going on, bear fishing?
Hey guys, Mike here from Binya Outdoors.
We got a lot more coming your way. We're only getting started. Let's go.
Hey guys, as you saw, we have a cool little intro going now. Tell me how you like that down below or in the chat. It's something I whipped up real quick because honestly, when we started the videos, it was really weird. We were sitting here talking to each other. We're trying to be a little bit more professional. On that note, we're redoing our goals video from last week because of audio issues and technical difficulties. We wanted to make sure we got this content to you. So we're going to kind of jump right into it. I'm going to jump over to Bear Fishing and have him start with his first set of goals.
So what's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining us on our Wednesday night lives on behalf of Binya Outdoors and I. So like Binya Outdoors or Mike from Binya Outdoors said, tonight we'll be discussing thoroughly, finally, our goals for this open water 2023 season. So without further ado, as Mike said, I'm just going to get started. So I bought a kayak recently, and I am pretty excited because I never had a watercraft to get out on the water. And if you are familiar with my channel, you've seen that all of my content. I mean, I have a couple shorts on an old John boat on Lake Champlain, but basically all of my content is done from the shore. I am a shore fisherman, so I'm excited that I just bought a used but almost brand new Old Town Sportsman 106 pedal drive. I am so excited about this, guys. I really feel like it's going to give me an edge, not over other fishermen, but give myself an edge over my previous fishing self and catch more fish. I will be making modifications here with Mike from Binya Outdoors. I'm going to be driving down to Vermont. We're going to get that done. We're going to make a crazy video, crazy content, modifying this kayak to make it a YouTube fishing machine. So, that being said, I'd like to start off by saying that my first goal for the 2023 season, simple but still a goal, I need to catch a fish on this kayak. I think it's going to be super attainable, so I'm not too worried about that one. My second goal. That being said, Mike here introduced me to the world of kayak fishing. He really taught me everything I know about kayak fishing thus far. So I would like to fish with Binya Outdoors minimum 5 to 10 times this spring to end of summer. That is not a lot. I mean, like you said in the previous live, we have a border that separates us. I'm from Montreal, he's from Vermont. So basically, what we're going to be doing is, what I'm going to be doing is we'll be meeting not really halfway. I'll be driving down. We're going to be fishing some lakes close by where he lives, and he's going to just teach me how to fish different baits, which is one of my other goals I'm going to get to pretty soon. All right, so in terms of bear fishing as a channel, my goal this year is to get to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully, I can get that accomplished before the end of the year. It's going to happen. You need to tell yourself it's going to happen. And I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to use all the resources I can, make crazy content, which brings me to another goal. In order to get 1,000 subscribers, I am going to make minimum 1 to 2 videos, serious videos every week. As well, for Bear Fishing as a brand, I would like to drop merch. I'm saying I would like to, but I literally just got a quote for this specific design on t-shirts that will be dropping next week. So I'm super excited about that. I will finally have my own Bear Fishing merch, and I won't be advertising a multi-billion-dollar corporation, but I'll be advertising my own brand. So I'm super excited about that. Okay, so in terms of fishing on the kayak, like I said, Mike is going to be helping me here. And I guess I want to catch a fish on a kayak, but I want to catch a fish on a chatterbait, one of Mike's favorite baits, and a bait that I kind of hate in the sense because I just don't use it. I never caught a fish on it. I have a couple that I'm actually going to bring out later. I want to just kind of show you what I got, but I just can't make one stick on that. So maybe it's the color, maybe it's the way I'm using it. We'll see. So another goal of mine is that I need to break my PB pike. Mike, if you wanted to show them, that's my PB pike. Okay. For urban Montreal fishing, that is a solid pike. It's a really solid pike. I mean, look at that fat girl. That thing has a stomach. And I caught it on a custom baits. here from Northern Ontario that I bought off a guy, and I was super pumped that I caught it on his bait, and I was just pumped that it was my PB pike in general. So I'll link that pike subject to the fact that I've caught smallmouth, largemouth bass in Vermont. I've caught rainbow trout, brook trout, many different species. Well, perch, my biggest perch in Vermont, but I never caught a pike in Vermont. And I know, Mike, that you run into them when you're not trying to catch pike, but trying to catch largemouth, and you kind of resent them for that. But at the same time, like when a pike sticks on, you almost know it's a pike, or it might be your PB largemouth. Like,
Yep.
I think that largemouth fight more throughout the fight than pike do, but when they hit, I think pike takes the cake on that. Personal opinion.
Pike tend to fight at the last minute too. For some reason, largemouth tend to give up at the boat or at the shore. Pike, once they see that boat, they do that like sideways
Absolutely.
flex thing.
Yeah, it's like a musky type reaction when they see
Yep.
your boat.
They go nuts.
And last but not least, I heard Vermont has bowfin.
I've never caught one, but we can try to find one. I want to catch one too, so that might be a mutual goal. We can definitely try to see if we can go locate some.
And I feel like we might have to hit Lake Champlain for that one, hit the big water for that one.
I know a guy with a boat, so I'm not worried about it.
Oh, you know a guy with a boat?
Yeah, might know one with a 18-foot tracker boat
Tracker that needs some fixing.
that needs some fixing for sure.
No, that's awesome. So yeah, I want to get that done. And last but not least, I have never caught a muskie in my life. I feel like if I'm targeting pike, big pike, I would have a chance to land a muskie on that type of equipment, especially with a leader.
Yep.
But I feel like when you catch a pike, there's certain movements that you have to make with your rod and certain fighting techniques that you can't even experience if you're not targeting them and never encountered one before. So I feel like that's going to be like a huge obstacle to get by. But I mean, look, I literally have a muskie lure right here, but I never caught one. So I think it's time. Like I have everything. My mindset's there, but I just need to bring it into reality. So that being said, I mean, I got some pretty big goals for this season, but I'm not going to stop until they're completed and hopefully until my viewers are satisfied. So guys, thanks for listening to my goals. I appreciate that. Any comments, Mike? What do you think of those goals?
A lot of mine are very similar. As for pretty much the muskie one might be tough. I'm not gonna lie. If we're gonna get one, it's gonna be up by you, because they stock them down here. They actually started stocking muskie in some of the rivers down here, but I don't think they're an extremely finicky fish. They're kind of hard to get into. But I know there's some big lakes and some rivers up by you that definitely have them. So other than that, I think everything is definitely achievable. But let's be honest, if we don't set a hard goal, it's not really a good set of standards to go by. So
absolutely. I'd like to. I think we all want to hear yours now. Now you're like, okay, now I'm setting the bar. Okay, what has he got in store here? I know he's got a lot more videos, so I won't speak for him.
Yeah, with the video stuff, so it's a little bit different for me in the sense of I've recorded a lot of stuff throughout the winter because I'm bored, and I've made a lot of educational videos. So that's actually one of my goals. I've been making a promise for the last 2 years that I was going to educate more, that I was going to explain things more, break things down more. And this year I'm making a commitment. And honestly, I have someone that's now doing a live stream with me every Wednesday that's going to hold me accountable to that as well. So I think that's kind of the other thing that you guys may not realize, but we're setting these goals on video. We want you to hold us accountable. We're going to hold ourselves accountable, and we're really going to do our best to achieve this. For me, the content side of things, I really want to educate more. I want to reach 500 subscribers because I'm still down in the sub 200 range right now. I've been growing a lot, so everybody who has subscribed recently, I really appreciate it. I jumped 30 subscribers in 2 weeks, so that's been an insane jump for me. But definitely 500 subscribers. Going with it actually started with this live stream, but another YouTube related goal is I really want to collaborate with a lot of other content creators, and I've been in talks with a lot of people. I have some pretty big names. I can't really release them because I don't want to get people's hopes up just in case they fall through. But let's just say you should probably watch next Thursday live on my channel and the 23rd, as well as Saturday, this coming Saturday. There's some big names that I'm bringing on for interviews. The fishing side of things, if anybody saw my live stream on Sunday, I was interviewing Nate Shagnon. Now, he is a kayak fishing guy from Massachusetts, but he hangs out with some of the biggest names in the KBF trails. And they actually live over on the eastern side of Massachusetts around Cape Cod. And over there, stripers run. So he's actually talking about getting me on a striped bass. I have never caught a striped bass. They're actually one of my favorite fish to eat, as well as just the thought of catching a 30 plus inch or even 20-inch, but way more aggressive than most species of fish, bass from a kayak is a definite goal for me. So that's one of my biggest fishing goals. Another fishing goal, which is going to be something that me and Bearfish are going to challenge each other on. I'm going to get him on a chatterbait fish, and he's going to get me on a jerkbait fish because I have yet to catch a fish on a jerkbait. Never done it. I've tried and tried and tried, and I just for some reason just haven't done it. It's just one of those baits that eludes me. So we're going to work together to try to accomplish those goals together. And honestly, my biggest goal is, and this is a little bit of a new one from the previous, if you guys actually heard me talking on the last one, is I really want to grow this live series so that we have a continuous viewership. I want to build a community that watches our videos, that interacts with us, that comes on with us and talks. And that's really a big goal for me. As you can probably tell from the first live that me and Bearfishing did together till today, there's been some drastic changes. And that's because I really, truly wanted to double down and grow this because I love getting on here and just talking to people. So that's pretty much it for me. But a lot of it is content related. I kind of make my own goals throughout the year. The last fishing goal I will say is I want to try to place in the top 5 of one of my tournaments, but um, it's going to be iffy because I'm going to be fishing water that I've never seen, and some of it I may be fishing brand new the day of the tournament. So, but that's kind of my lofty goal. That's my big boy goal of trying to beat some really really solid fishermen and try to place in the top 5.
Well, maybe you need a new partner.
Something.
I actually want to comment on those goals, unless you're not finished.
No, I'm good.
Okay, have you ever thought of picking up a fly rod and learning how to fly fish for striper? Because
I've
I've seen it done and it looks exhilarating.
Not for striper. I definitely so I'm going to give a little bit of a. I said I wasn't going to name drop, but if any of you have ever heard the Jigs and Bigs podcast, so Bobby Roast Beef from Jigs and Bigs is coming on Saturday. Now, he actually hosts a tournament series called the Multi Species Series. And one of the species in that tournament series is trout. Everybody knows one of the easiest ways to catch trout is fly fishing. Like they're synonymous with each other. Trout and salmon are like the two species that most people target with a fly rod. So I actually have a friend here in Vermont that used to be a fly fishing instructor. So he actually had talked to me about possibly taking me out in the spring and teaching me the ropes. But to be honest, I don't want to get into fly fishing because I spend too much damn money on bass fishing and I can't go down that rabbit hole right now.
It's like I think it's even more expensive for rods
It
and
is.
reels. Yeah. All right. And also a big thing that you mentioned is that goals can change, and I hope they do change for the better and bigger goals as we move along this season. I mean, ideally, we want to complete these goals like before the end of the summer, right? That would be
I,
cool.
I will admit, if I hit 500 subscribers before the end of the year, I'm gonna up it. Like that's
Yep.
it's funny because what people don't realize is anybody who's probably watching this live and anyone who has just started, being part of it is I started this time last year at about 35 subscribers. And I gained about 60 or 70 last summer. And then I gained 40 in the last 2 weeks. So we're like it's growing faster than I anticipated. I honestly, my original goal was 50 subscribers. That was literally what I wanted back in the day. But now I want to try to get to 500.
For sure. Yeah, it's always just like upping those goals and wanting to do better. So yeah. Does anyone want to comment on our goals? Like I said last time, but no one was able to hear me. We both want to hear your goals if you have any.
Absolutely.
Anybody who's joining.
And also, guys, if you accomplish one of your goals, send us a picture. Say I caught my new PB, or I accomplished fishing in a kayak. Whatever your goal is, send them to us. You can reach out to us on Instagram. Our Instagram names are literally our channel names. We've cross-branded everything. You know, send us stuff, tag us and stuff. We'll be happy to put that on our videos. I mean, if you want to come on, we may even bring guests on Wednesday lives and say, hey, this guy accomplished his goal this week. Check it out. He's going to come and talk about it for a few minutes. So
Absolutely. All right, we got a couple here.
yeah,
Catch a tiger muskie. Yeah, we're gonna need Steve Malley's help with that. Catching tiger muskie. I mean, on top of the fact that you want to catch a muskie, you want to catch a tiger muskie. That's like saying, "Oh, I want to catch a trout." No, I want to catch a tiger trout.
Dude, there's I've seen, I want to say there was literally a thing that was like tiger bass too. Like there was some sort of weird crossbreed of bass that has like the same
There's
markings on them.
Coosa bass, and you go down to Tennessee, and you just see the different types of bass, and like the colors are amazing too. Yeah, that's amazing.
You know what I learned the other day from a biologist, speaking of colors? Did you know bass can change their scale color?
If they want to, like octopus.
They literally have the ability to adapt their scale colors. So if you ever noticed, like if you ever caught a bass and it looks like where the lateral line is, the green is darker or lighter sometimes.
Yep.
Apparently they can actually adapt their pigment to their surroundings, just like kind of like octopus, but not at the like 3D high def level that they can.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, like they've done studies where they've taken bass out of the water, put them in live wells, and then like they literally change color within 20 minutes.
No, I had no clue.
I
wonder
learned
if like water clarity plays a factor in that type of thing too.
I have a feeling it's not, and I think it's probably not on purpose. Like I don't think they're intelligent enough to be like, oh, this rock is dark, so I need to be dark. I have a feeling it's like just some weird genetic pre-programmed instinct that when they get next to something, it's kind of like a chameleon where you watch them walk over stuff and they just like mimic the color.
Yeah, true. So you just reminded me of another goal that I have that I hope to accomplish next month. I'm going down south on these white sandy beaches, and I won't even be fishing on the white sandy beaches, but rather this thing called salt ponds for tons of tarpon. I've never caught a tarpon before. I've been down to Florida multiple times, but for some reason where I am, there's not many tarpon. It kind of depends on the time of year and what that time of year, if they're running through or not. And I've never been there when they are. But this place is like a confined space where they're just like breeding and they're just constantly in there and they can't move from there. So like any bait that gets tossed in there, these tarpon are biting. So believe it or not, in a month, 5 weeks from now, okay, let's say 6 weeks when I get back, I will have a tarpon fishing video on my page where I do catch tarpon. I'm manifesting it. I will be catching tarpon in a month. And like I'm super pumped about that. Because I've seen everyone who's like kind of familiar with fishing in different places, they know that tarpon like jump 5-6 feet in the air. Even a small tarpon, like a tarpon like this, fights way more than a largemouth. I don't know. I can't say that, but I'll know next month. So I'm excited.
You'll have a video about it. He's already challenged himself, so.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be there. And not whether I catch it or not, I will be catching one. So I'm excited to share that with everyone. Really. Yeah.
Does anybody have any fishing related questions? Another thing that we're really looking for is topics that you want to talk about. So I feel like I have a lot of knowledge, and what I don't know, I can definitely research. So If you guys have anything that you want to learn, a technique, a theory, time of year style fishing, anything like that, let us know because we'll do lives. It's really about you, what you want to see. A lot of times we basically come on here and just talk. So
Yep.
what is the best fishing?
Time to fish, I think.
Time to fish.
Ooh.
Well, I'm gonna ask you first. Let's see. I'm kind of curious what you think.
Okay.
My
What is,
answers are always complicated, so
no, I think it's a complicated question. It seems simple, but it's not. It's kind of like, when's the best time to fish, or when is it your favorite time to fish? In my opinion, that's my opinion. In
yeah,
my
it's two
opinion,
different things.
yeah, best time to fish. Are we talking time of day? Or are we talking season? Season, I'm gonna go for spring. I'm gonna go for spring or fall.
Um,
They're just more active. In my experience, they're just more
yeah,
active. Spring or fall. Time of day depends if you're fishing spring or I find spring in the afternoon, if you're targeting pike, it's hard not to get one hooked. In the
yep,
afternoon, broad daylight.
yep.
It could be sunny, better if it's cloudy, but even if it's sunny, you're just sticking one pike after another. I can say the same for largemouth bass, which I hope you get to now, because there's not many largemouth. There's largemouth here in Montreal, but it's not like, oh, here's a largemouth pond. There's no ponds here. It doesn't work like that. There's no
Right.
largemouth just hanging around. So
Gotcha.
I actually want to hear your opinion on that. So yeah, spring and fall are my favorite time to fish, even for smallmouth. Same deal.
So it really depends on the time of year, and you're right. And the reason why the science behind it that says, now granted, science is the bass don't always follow the rules, but in the spring, the reason why they're more active in the afternoon is because of the water temperature. So the sun's had more time to heat that water. In the fall, it's actually the opposite because the water's already pretty much at that peak temperature that it's going to be, and it's starting to cool off. So it actually goes down towards the nighttime. But in the morning, it depends on. So personally, I hate mornings. I freaking hate getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go fishing. But there is windows of time when the sun is coming up or going down, the fish seem to turn on. And that's kind of the perfect windows of being on the water. But that being said, I don't, and this is something that YouTube guys talk all the time about, you need to fish between this time and that time to catch big fish. And if you have 2 hours to fish, you're not going to catch fish from your couch. You're not going to catch fish watching TV at home. So if you only can get on the water for 2 hours, that's the best time to fish. Go do it when you can get out there, because I have caught fish at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I have caught fish at 6 a.m. I've caught fish at 9 o'clock at night in the dark and couldn't even see the hook to unhook the damn thing. So it doesn't necessarily matter, but there is times that it's better. But get out there when you can, because it's really important to just learn. And every time you go out, try to learn something.
Absolutely. I can't agree with that more. It's all about getting out there and being in nature. That's the biggest thing that drives me to be a fisherman and sustains like my passion for it. It's just getting out there and being with nature. That being said, we are at 8:20, and the people that are still here, thank you for staying here. We are both going to be giving away stuff next week. We're going to have a giveaway. Mike, if you want to get into the details, I kind of brought it up right away, but if you'd like to
Yep.
continue that.
So the plan is, and this is something that we're still kind of working out all the final pieces of it, but ultimately what we're going to be doing, and we're going to go through all the details next week. So it's not officially, we'll say it's active right now for you that have been staying with us because you guys have stuck with us and watched this episode. So the way to enter is you have to subscribe to both channels, and then you have to comment your favorite bait in the chat right now, or if you're watching this video after the fact, put it in the comments. If you're listening to this on my podcast on Spotify, then you'll have to come find the video on YouTube. You'll have to come subscribe, because the idea is we're trying to reach our goals. Just like the video says, we're trying to reach our subscribers, and it's a free way for us to get subscribers. If you guys are watching this and you want to get some free gear, hit that subscribe button, give us that comment. That helps get our videos out to more people. And for that, we're going to be giving away some stuff. I have some baits from Fish Daddy Baits. They're plastic swim baits. They're really cool swim baits, and it's a whole package, literally in a Z-Rust tackle box. And the goal is, well, I'll let you tell your side of it.
Sorry?
I'll
Continue.
I'll let you tell your side of what you want to try to give away, if you can.
Yeah, something comfortable to wear on your back while you're fishing.
So we'll leave it at that. We don't have, like I said, we're still working on the details. We weren't totally going to release the information yet because we haven't solidified everything. But if you hit that subscribe button, give us a comment of your favorite bait, we will we'll write you down. The reason why, in case you're wondering what the unnecessarily comment thing is about, is that when you subscribe, it tells us we have a new subscriber, but it doesn't tell us the name all the time. So by putting a comment in there, that'll allow me to reach out to you. I can reply to that comment. And as far as the way we're going to determine who wins, is we're going to do a drawing on the live. So you have to be present at the live, and we'll announce what a live that is. And when we do that, we will do a live drawing. I'll do it right here on the screen. You guys will get to see it, and then we will ship those items out to you. We'll probably do, honestly, a couple different prizes. We're not just going to give one big prize pack. We'll do a couple different winners. That way more people have an opportunity to win something.
Perfect. Well said. Well said.
So does anybody have anything they want to talk about? Any questions? Any comments? Looks like we got 4 or 5 people still in here. How early do you think we're going to be able to fish? I'm very optimistic, but I don't think
How
we're going to be
early?
able to.
So I need to wait for my kayak rack. As soon as that comes in, I'm gonna go down and get it so I can get the gadgets going for it. The
Yep.
mount, and then the what is it called? The milk carton. That's what I call it. The milk.
Oh, yep. The crate, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the milk crate. That's it. So I need to get that going, and then we'll talk gadgets. I'm gonna purchase those gadgets. So it's basically up to Jeff Bezos when he wants to let me have his Amazon items as quickly as possible. And then as soon as
Gotcha.
that happens, depending on our schedules, when you do have free time, I'll be driving down. We'll rig it up. I don't know if we'll have enough time to make the video and make a fishing video on the same day.
Probably not. But that's fine.
That's not optimistic.
It happens, dude. Honestly, it takes a long time to rig a kayak. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I've had mine for probably 2 years now, and I just redid it again. So I had it the way I thought I wanted it, and then I started fishing tournaments, and I needed to make it more efficient. Arthur, I did see your question. So my boat is still down. For those of you who don't know or haven't seen much of my videos, I bought a bass boat last year, and I actually went to fish the Finger Lakes in upstate New York and had some motor issues, and I have to bring it to the boat doctor. And unfortunately, I haven't had enough funds to be able to do it. So it is sitting in the driveway, all sad, waiting for repair. I'm still waiting to get that done. I'm hoping to have it back by midsummer. So kayak rigging is a journey. Absolutely, man. That is that's actually another Vermont YouTuber.
Yeah, and you guys both know a lot about rigging kayaks compared to what I know. So basically, like, I'm listening to you guys on this. I'm not gonna start like going on some like crazy trip of like, oh, I want this, I want that on my kayak, but like, bro,
Oh,
you
you
don't
will.
know anything. I know I will,
You
but
will.
okay,
You can't help it, man.
okay. Binya Outdoors is extra when it comes to rigging his kayak. This guy's staring at his kayak saying, "Okay, how can I make this thing into a transformer?" Which is cool. I
Yeah.
don't think I'm there yet. I just need to learn how to use this pedal drive. I don't even got an anchor, so I mean, if I get a big enough wave, ciao
You'll be
bear
fine.
fishing.
Nah, dude, it's what's funny about the kayak rigging stuff, and I will say from advice standpoint is don't make any major changes until you fish with it, because you will think you want something and you'll think you know where you want it until you're on the water, because it seems to make sense when you're sitting on shore, but when you get in the water, when the kayak is your only refuge, it's the only thing that you have to sit in and be in. It's a different feeling when you're on the water. You're more confined. You have limited space. Your movement does have to change. You have to think about the fact that I can't just jump from side to side. And when you're sitting on the ground thinking about what you want to put in your kayak, you're going to think something is in a good spot until you get out on the water, and then you realize, man, I really wish this rod holder was 3 feet to the right. Or if you're paddling and you're like, oh man,
There goes my camera.
I'm hitting my freaking camera or my rod holder, or you don't realize it until you get out there. So anybody who's rigging a kayak this year, take the time, don't rush it, because honestly, I've got a box of accessories upstairs that I can't use because I bought stuff thinking I was going to rig it a certain way. And I actually minimalized. When I say I re-rigged my kayak, just to give you perspective, I minimized it down to 8 rods. I went down to 8 rods. And I took all the wiring that was in my area where I actually sit, and I removed all the wiring in there because I thought I wanted a light in my cockpit area. And I thought I wanted all these things in there. And then I realized that while I'm fishing, I'm constantly getting hooks caught in my wires. I'm constantly kicking my cables. And I wanted to free it up and have that all be open. Those are little things that sound really silly, but ultimately, if you don't think these things through, you're going to put stuff in the wrong spot. And in some cases, you have to drill holes. So you're going to have unnecessary holes in your kayak. So,
Yeah. Your your kayak looks like it's going to a disco club sometimes.
you should see it now. I've got the 3 lights in the back, and actually I just got these in from, I had a company that actually asked me to do a review, so you guys are seeing this first. These are actually headlamps that I got from a company to test out, and they want me to do a review of these, and I got 2 of them. So once I'm done my review, this is going to be a gift on a future live. I'm going to be giving one of these away. But to be honest, I'm not giving one of these away until I test it and determine that it's actually a good product, because I'm not going to give something away to you guys that I think is crap. So once I do my review of these, be on the lookout and make sure to attend the lives, because as soon as I've confirmed that these are a good product, you guys are going to be able to win one. So
Okay, I'm gonna say this because Vermont to you is, or VT to you, I think is still in here. If not, thanks for joining. He's a big lake trout guy. What are your thoughts on lake trout fishing from a kayak? That's a bit. It's extreme. In my opinion, it's extreme. A lot to me is extreme because I've never even fished on a kayak. So, what are your thoughts on that? Being a kayak fisherman.
dude, I've tried it. It takes a lot of restraint. You have to really want it, because a lot of the most effective ways to fish for trout is jigging.
Right.
And it's hard to stay in place, and you're jigging over deep water. So I don't even think, honestly, in a lot of the places that I fish, I could put my anchor deep enough. So I'm kind of forcefully pedaling into the wind and trying to stay in place and trying to hit my spots. That's actually another goal I kind of thought of just now, is I want to learn how to fish deep, because I'm more of a shallow water fisherman when it comes to
Same
even
here.
bass fishing in general. To be honest, most people are, and that's simply because being a shallow water fisherman is easier. I'll admit that right now. It's a cop out to an extent. I can see the bank. I can see what's typically in the water, because unless the water is like chocolate milk brown, I can sometimes see what
Montreal.
the structure is. Yeah, there are some places around here that I fished Shelburne Pond last year going on a rabbit hole that had that blue-green algae crap.
Oh yeah.
Dude, you couldn't. It was
No.
disgusting. Like when you
Yeah.
casted a bait and reeled it back, you could see the trail your bait. Like you
Ooh.
could see
Yeah.
literally the where it separated the algae as it came through. It was gross. But shallow water fishing is simpler because you have that tree, that bank, that rock. When you're offshore, you don't have that. You have to use your equipment, you have to use your electronics. And I suck at reading electronics. I actually upgraded my fish finder this year to another style of fish finder, which I'm doing a video on, so I'm not going to go in details, but it should help me to identify schools of bait and how to find fish offshore. And I actually have a guest hopefully coming on next week, again, foreshadowing, that is really good at catching bigs and doing the offshore thing. So there's definitely some learning on my behalf because I suck at drop shot. I suck at deep water fishing.
Yeah, I feel like that's a whole skill set of its own. Like it is. It's not. I feel
It
it
is.
literally is. Reading the sonar, even having a feel. Like I kind of ballparked it the few times that I went on a boat this year. I went in Vermont, but specifically Lake Champlain, and I
Yeah.
kind of found these rocky shelves where I would stop. I would just stop seeing the seaweed. I'd catch all kinds of perch over the seaweed. I'd stop seeing the seaweed, and then as soon as I did that, as soon as I moved further deep into Lake Champlain, well, that's when the perch stopped biting. I had fewer bites, but then I was catching the smallmouth. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is where they are. It's these rock shelves, midsummer too, right? So the water is like the warmest it'll get.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is where these fish are. So imagine if you have sonars that help you do it, and you know, and like you said, you need to know how to use these sonars. Like it's a tool, but if you don't know how to use a tool, it's not going to work.
So the one I bought actually
Yeah.
has a cool technology. So it's a Lowrance fish finder, but it has. So I don't know if you know the difference between 2D and down imaging.
Negative.
Okay, so 2D is what you're used to seeing. So your Garmin Striker that you use for ice fishing, that's 2D. So the regular fish finder mode, when it's not in the flasher mode, is 2D. So the like two color, usually like red, marks the bottom, and that's what it is. So that's 2D. Down imaging is more detailed. So you actually can tell that it's a tree. You can tell that it's a brush pile. It's not just a lump.
Or like a log or something.
Yeah, it's like high definition sonar, I guess is the
Like
easiest way to word it.
I've seen it. I didn't know that was a term for it, but I know like the more expensive ones, the guys will
Yep.
usually tend to use that instead of
Yep.
the 2D, right? Like it's
Right.
more advanced. You'll want to, if you have both options. What I'm getting from what you're saying is that you'll want to use that.
So a lot of guys, what they do is most fish finders allow you to split screen. So they run both because this is the weird thing about it. 2D sonar marks fish better,
Okay.
but down imaging marks structure. So the fish finder I bought is a Lowrance Hook Reveal, and it actually does both in one screen. It actually hybrids the 2D for fish, but then does the bottom as down imaging.
Structure.
So it hybrids the both together in the same screen without having to have a split screen. So basically, I only use a small fish finder because I'm on a kayak.
Right.
So if I wanted to run 2D and down imaging, I can't then run mapping. So then I can't mark waypoints. I can't go fish a waypoint. Whereas now I can run those two on one side and then mapping on the other side so that I can have both on that screen. And to be honest, the offshore fishing thing, the big thing about that is you have to be able to graph and you have to be able to spend a lot of time graphing. And I'm not willing, honestly, to spend that much time graphing. But if I could identify baits and if I can baits, I don't know why I said boots, but basically, if I could identify bait schools or just schools of fish in general and be able to target them,
Right.
that's going to help me because right now with the current fish finder I have, I think I messed it up somehow because I noticed when I was fishing on a local pond that I know very well, it was telling me I was marking fish. The water was gin clear, like you could see everything, and there
There's
was nothing under me.
there's no fish. I have a question
So,
for you. When you talk about graphing, what do you mean by graphing? Because I'm unfamiliar with these terms.
so what
Like,
guys will do when they fish offshore
yeah.
is literally take 2 hours and just drive around
Okay.
and look for specific points. So look for rock piles and major changes in depth, or look for bait. And literally, they don't fish. They're
They're
literally
just
sitting there staring at a screen, putting around, marking stuff, and then they go back and fish it later. And that's something that personally I don't have the freaking patience for. I have ADD and I can't do it. I can't mentally do it. But what I will do with that type of fish finder I have is I'm going to be able to identify baits. I'm going to be able to identify structure and mark it on a waypoint and then be able to go back to it later. And the fish finder I have does what's called the quick draw. So it actually draws a topographical style map as you're fishing. So you can actually go back and look at the map that it drew for a body of water, and then you'll be able to pick out places that the fish might be hiding.
So are you allowed to do this like the day before a tournament, or is that
Oh, you can do it anytime. Yeah, it's
okay? So you can. Okay. That's
most guys. So when you watch like pro bass fishermen, a lot of the times, if you ever watch like Bassmasters, those dudes are like they're basically graphing. They're fishing, but they're staring at usually forward-facing sonar. They're staring. Those guys have a freaking 9-inch screen for forward-facing sonar, and then a 12-inch screen for the regular fish finder, and then they have another 9-inch screen for their mapping, and that's all networked to the console fish finder. But more or less, what those guys are doing when they're pre-fishing, and that's something that we can kind of get into for sure in a tournament video, but when you tournament fish, when you pre-fish, you actually are trying not to catch fish. It sounds really weird, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out what the bite is, what they're interested in, but a lot of times you'll purposely lose those fish. You'll shake them off. There's actually guys, I know a lot of guys, I actually have done it too, where they'll take the bait, the hooks off, like square bill, take the hooks off them. Because you cast it out, you reel it, and then when they hit that bait, you'll feel it, you'll know you have a fish, but you don't hook them, and they can spit it back out because that fish is more likely to stay there, and then you'll be able to come back there on tournament day, and maybe he'll still be there. Whereas if you start catching all the fish out of an area,
so it's like professional poaching. I like it.
It's essentially what it is you go in, and actually, depending on the level of tournament, a lot of tournaments actually forbid you from fishing, so you have to be careful. Like Slay Nation and the tournament series that I'm in, you can pre-fish anytime you want. Some tournaments, they block out a lake for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
and they do media blackout too, so you're not even allowed to talk to anybody that's been fishing that lake for 2 weeks. Like if they find out you've been communicating with someone,
you'll be can't get on the day. Like Scott Martin can't get out there the day before and just graph the lake.
No, yeah, those guys are not allowed anywhere near the lake usually for at the very least a couple days before. But in some tournaments, it's like the Bassmaster Classic. I don't think they can fish there for like 2 weeks before.
Have you ever gone to see that on Lake Champlain? Have you ever gone by the marina or anything? Because I know they dock off at Plattsburgh Marina. I was thinking of going last year. Like I've seen them pass on like the Z-Man boats and stuff, and I was like, shit, I should probably get over there.
I've seen them out there, but they actually a lot of times they launch out of Ticonderoga or Plattsburgh, or sometimes they launch up north. But the thing about what I would like to do, to be honest with you, is I found out last year, I didn't even know this, but I found out last year that, like the camera boats that follow those guys around.
Absolutely.
Those aren't Bassmaster boats. Those are locals.
No way.
They pay locals to haul a camera guy around, and they pay you for your gas. They pay you for your time.
Okay.
And you drive a camera guy around in your boat and follow professional fishermen and watch them catch fish.
Okay.
I would pay for that opportunity, to be honest. Like being able to pull up on like a guy like Gerald Swindle and see what he's using in a certain situation, and like just not necessarily poaching spots, just like a matter of like watching what his thought process is, because you're seeing it live. You're like, okay, here's the conditions, here's the bait he's using.
I would voluntarily go in the live well in order to see this guy fish. Like, I like seeing Seth Fider, crazy.
But yeah, I found that out. I had a couple buddies that got asked to haul around cameras. The only thing is you're doing a lot of driving, because you could be like following this guy, and then this guy's not catching crap, and then you're going all the way back up the other side of the lake.
I hope they got gas, because
oh no, they literally they bring cans right on the boat with them, and they actually pay for all the gas. They buy you lunch, and then
crazy.
Yeah, they literally. I think they give you like a small stipend, and then they pay for basically all of your boat maintenance and everything. It's pretty cool. Which
Okay.
makes sense because you think about it, they can't haul a fleet of boats across the freaking. You know how many boats they would need to be able to cover all the different guys and be able to record everything, and
Oh, absolutely.
so
Just
having
gathering
local
that for
guys
each
do it.
destination. Like imagine, yeah, like what, like who's hauling all these boats from like coast to coast, right? Okay, I'm gonna move on to the kayak rigging thing. This isn't the topic, but just so everyone's watching, the biggest obstacle that I'm facing right now, which like for VT to you and Mike here is not really an obstacle. Like this guy knew the answer right away, but it's rigging this Sony A7 II onto the kayak. So a lot of the ram mounts and all these other mounts, they have the little screw in thing. What's the proper term for this, Mike?
It's a tripod mount.
All right.
What
The
they call it.
tripod mount hole here. They have it, but the thing is that the mounts don't seem sturdy enough to hold the Sony, especially on open water. Like I almost want to guarantee a product and like patent it and say like 100% this thing will not fall off when it's on your kayak. So I'm gonna have to
Pretty
do
sure
a
I have a
bit of
product
a
right here.
do-it-yourself thing for this because I do want to make good use of it. It's a solid camera.
I've got a
Yeah.
product that's called duct tape.
Yeah. Okay. So the Vermont product of the century, duct
Hey,
tape.
man. Yeah, duct tape, man. I got a definite product for you. No, we'll definitely try to figure it out. If anyone knows, anybody watching this or anybody watching it after the
Please.
fact, if you have any ideas, I have not used that large of a camera, so I don't want him to lose his camera into the lake because as good a footage as that would be, and as much as I would laugh at him when his camera's, going into the water and he's diving off of his kayak to try to save it, it's not what we want. But I don't know how that big camera stuff works and how to mount it. I know a couple people that might be able to help me because a lot of people don't use those big cameras on there, but
I
you
know.
definitely could try
Because
it
I
for
was just
sure.
saying, like, okay, I purchased this last year. I want to make good use of it. And the battery life is way better than my GoPro. That being said, why worry about battery life when everything's plugged in?
Well, got to get batteries for that. That's the thing. So that's going to be tricky.
Exactly. No. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's an extra cost, right?
Yep. Yeah, you
Um,
definitely. I mean, battery banks work good for a while. That's what I did for a long time, and they work decent. You can get pretty inexpensive ones at like Walmart,
mhm.
but because GoPro's gonna last you 40 minutes. That's all you're gonna get, man.
Oh,
As a
I
kit.
know.
So, and
Yeah,
that's
I know. That's
max.
why for now I was thinking like just leaving the GoPro on the chest. I know you said the angle thing was bad. I have to check on my phone, but just for now, because I
Well,
need to get the
if you buy the one mount, you could put the GoPro in front of you, run the big
Mhm.
cam behind.
the big cam behind. But that's the thing. How high? That we'll have to talk about that.
Angle.
Yeah,
That's what I do with my GoPro. It's the same kind of concept.
yeah, exactly.
It's tricky though with those cameras because you have to have a certain type of lens, man. You have to zoom it out a little bit because if it's not a wide angle, it tends to they'll be able to count like the fucking hairs in the back of your neck, but they won't really
That
be able
yeah,
to.
yeah, exactly. So
I
either
think
that
we're
or I
no, go
put
ahead. Sorry.
the no, it's okay. I was gonna say maybe the GoPro in back on top,
Yeah.
and then I have this on the track like we were talking about before, and then I want to get the Rode wireless mic that'll attach to the big camera.
Yep.
Something like that.
I want to get some sort of wireless lapel mic because there's so many times where that wind is just nasty. If anybody's watched my channel and seen like me suddenly break into a montage in the middle of the video, that's because I was trying to talk through that portion of the video, but the entire time all you could hear is just wind blowing straight into the mic,
Yep.
and it just sounded awful. So a lot of times I just threw music over it so I could still put that content out for you guys. But yeah, that's the one biggest thing in YouTube world is just audio. It's really hard to when you're fishing in a place where it's open and you're getting wind on you. It's tough sometimes.
And on top of being hard, it's so important. It's something that's overlooked by a lot of YouTube fishermen at first, including
Absolutely.
myself. Like literally, if you want, I'm not hyping up my channel. Go on and check it out. I have Lake Champlain fishing videos where all you hear is the wind.
Yep.
And
Oh yeah.
it's like, okay, if I don't post this, well, I'm not gonna have an intro to my video. So it's like choose your battles. But yeah, for this season, I'd like to eliminate that. I would. I will.
The GoPros had like the model I have doesn't have an external mic option. I wish it did. But
So mine doesn't either. And I'll show you guys right now what I bought. I bought a clip-on mic for the Rode clip-on mic here.
okay.
This little cool thing. So it clips on right here. And then what you need to do, so this is the tricky part about the exterior mic like this, and when it's not connected wirelessly. There's a couple things. You need to plug it into here, and then you need to plug this where your GoPro charges. So now if you want to keep your battery going on the GoPro, you can.
Yeah.
So that's why the good thing about attaching it to the Sony is that you're actually able to attach it to a different place that you would your charger. So you can have your thing charging and have, yeah, you get where I'm going with this.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And now we lost half of the fishermen because they're like, these guys are talking about nerd stuff.
That is quality information.
You'd be surprised how much weird stuff there is with content creation. I'm probably actually gonna be doing an entire, when I take over for the American Angler Outdoors shows, I might do an entire stream on like just content creator tips and stuff because you learn a lot when you constantly have a camera with you. Honestly, you catch a lot of weird crap too. You'll see a lot of my shorts coming up soon that like I wouldn't necessarily put in a regular video, but it's just stupid stuff that happens and you catch it because you're recording nonstop.
Yep, absolutely. Mike, I'm pretty happy with that. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think we're probably going to wrap things up here, guys. We're coming up on an hour. We're trying to keep these to about an hour, mostly just because of nerd analytics stuff, but also we've learned that we start to drop off our viewership at an hour. And honestly, you guys probably have other stuff to do on a Wednesday night as well. So I want to thank every single person who's taken time to watch this video today. Anyone who is watching this video after the fact, if you're here and we're not, thank you very much for clicking on the video and watching this far into it. We've had some definite dedicated people. I know I've seen some familiar names in the chat consistently. Off the Hook Outdoors is one of my new collaborator friends. I was watching one of his lives earlier today while I was at work. I almost got in trouble for it. It was quite funny, but I actually was like stuffing my phone under my monitor so I could watch his live stream and was pretending I was listening to a podcast or something. But yeah, there's been a lot of guys that have been kind of coming out and listening, watching, and even to be honest, we had people sticking with us through the audio mode last week. So that was pretty awesome. So I want to say thank you guys for making this live stream something that was worth embarking on. We've obviously spent a little bit of time and effort to upgrade things. We're going to continue to grow this thing as we go. And seriously, if you want to come on, we are going to be having viewers come on. It may not be for the whole show, but I would really like to start doing segments where we bring you on if you accomplished a goal this year, caught a new PB, something you just want to show the internet. You know, we may be bringing people on just for 10 minutes, 5 minutes just to talk about something and then drop off. So that's something I definitely want to do. I want to bring people on. It's not just about us, it's about you guys.
No, and even like we were saying before, content creation. It can be content creation, fishing, like biology of fish, anything that surrounds fish or fishing, anything like that. Yep. We're down to talk about it. So like you said, even if you want to come on for 5-10 minutes, that's perfect. That's cool with us. We're excited.
And especially if you have a product, if you're a business that's in the fishing industry, you make baits, you make equipment for fishing. You want to come on and do a little spot for a few minutes, talk about it? Absolutely. Yep. We'll have you on and talk about it.
For sure. So once again, thanks for everyone who came out. We appreciate that a lot. And we'll be back next week.
Absolutely. We'll be here next Wednesday. And like I said, I'm going to be doing another video Saturday. That's going to be at 6 o'clock Eastern. I don't know where you guys are all located, but if you want to check that out, I would really appreciate it. For now, we're going to sign off. But again, thank you very much for coming out, guys.
Thank you.